Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Thursday, the first day of June 2023, our first day of the month that will become the entrance into our season of summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. It is also a little bit more than 24 hours until the end of our school year here at the Franciscan School. We've just completed morning prayer, and it's a lot of reading days today. So reading days that are different than reading days in colleges and universities. It's basically being read to some wonderful stories. So that's going to take up most of the time of most of our classes on this Thursday before the final day of school tomorrow. Today is also the memorial of St. Justin Martyr. One of the early fathers of the church, philosopher, theologian, someone who gave produced a defense of Christianity to the Roman Emperor. I think it was Antonius Pius. Again, in trying to explain who and what Christians were. Not a bunch of cannibals eating bodies and drinking blood, but people, again, who were trying to live in a way of life that was allowing for others to be able to achieve their fullness and the wholeness that the God of Israel, the God of Jesus of Nazareth, desires for humanity. And so Justin becomes one of the great defenders of the faith in that way, in a way to explain the faith so that it be understood and move away from a lot of misconceptions, a lot of lies, a lot of misunderstandings that were circulating in Justin's time. Justin lived in the 2nd century, so again, one of the earliest evidences we have of some discontent in Christianity and people trying to produce a way to navigate through all of this so that the fullness and the truth of the faith might be known. In our readings today, again, we've been going all over the place. We had a memorial on Monday. We had a feast of visitation on yesterday on Wednesday. It's Justin Martyr today, although there is special readings for him. The readings of the day also suffice. And so we're back to Sirach. And in Sirach, we have this wonderful explanation of how God knows, that God knows everything. God knows the deepness of our hearts. God knows what we desire, what we need. God knows the ins and outs of everything in creation, and God doesn't know these things to condemn them. God does not know these things to make judgment upon them, to punish them, or whatever it is. God knows these things so that we might be able to become what it is, again, that God asks us to become, and that as we experience our life, God does not create in vain. God does not create anything that is useless or that does not matter, or that does not have any kind of sense of value or worth. And that's important, again, for all of us to recognize is, again, this whole world that has been given to us, this creation that has been given to us, we are expected to make a world out of. And again, demonstrating, because God understands this and God knows this, that everything has a place, that everything has value and worth. And so that is something truly for us to kind of ponder, again, as I always go to the lowly mosquito, or even, some kind of beetle or some kind of a snake or worm or whatever it is, all has a purpose in life, all has something that needs to be of use to God's creation in some way, shape, or form, because God would not create it in vain. God would not create anything of useless value, which is important, again, most especially for us. When we look at ourselves and we try to understand ourselves, we need to realize how much God values us and how much God cares about each one of us, because we have been created for purpose. We have not been created for nothing. In Mark's Gospel today, when we go back to Mark's Gospel, following along with Mark's Gospel, Jesus encounters Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, who is blind and who wants to see. And basically, Jesus just asks him that question, "What do you want from me?" As Bartimaeus yells out to him, and Bartimaeus says quite plainly, "I want to see." Again, not faith, not becoming a follower of Jesus, not, again, doing good and things like that. He just wants to see. And Jesus grants him that. It's a wonderful experience, again, in a Jewish tradition, of basically asking of God what it is that we need, what it is that we want, what it is that's going to help us become what it is that we need to be in this world. Bartimaeus asks for that without problem, without hesitation, without any kind of feeling of offense or whatever it is to God, and God grants it. important for us to remember. We don't need to tiptoe around God. Again, if Sirach says that God knows everything and God has not created us in vain, then we need to ask of God what it is that we need so that we will see that our lives are not created in vain. In the same way that Timaeus asked to see, so too do we need to be asked to see, to feel, to understand, to love, to forgive, all these kinds of things that enrich our lives and create in us that glory of God that reveals to the world God's love and God's care for it. A gracious day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.